and welcome everybody. Today we are meeting with Dr. Amal Hassan Ali. I am Ruchi Dwivedi from She Site Global. It's a global media house, and we encourage women and motivate and empower women by writing stories about their challenges and struggles that they've overcome. And hopefully our storytelling, excites and motivates women across the globe to tell us more about themselves and, reach where they want to be. With that said, we will start with this podcast. And again, Dr. Amal Hassan Ali, welcome to this podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today.
Thank you very much, actually, for your time and for giving me the opportunity, actually, to join the podcast and the She Side community and talk about my journey from the undergrad during my PhD. And I'm currently a postdoc here at the Charité, at the Institute of Medical Biophysics and Physics in Berlin. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk also about my scientific career, and hopefully I can motivate the next generation and your audience in somehow and give some inspiration for them. So yeah, I'm happy to chat about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, equally happy and love the opportunity. We will start, Dr. Amal, with the initiation of your journey. How did it all start? Your journey into science, especially. Growing up, were you always interested in STEM subjects? Were you thinking that you will become a doctor and go into the field of biology some way or the other, and you ended up doing, research? Where did it all start, and how did you become what you did?
You are really bringing back to old memories in a way, but they are very, of course, nice and good to remember. I have been always, so starting from the school, I have been always interested in STEM, so biology in particular, and it always excited me, and also chemistry, this kind of interaction between molecules, and then it give you, under a certain reaction, give you a product. It always excited me. And in the school, I have been actually specialized, especially during my high school, where I grew up in chemistry and electronics. So physics and chemistry and biology, all these kind of fields have excited me so much. But I never thought that it would bring me that far. I knew also when I started the university that I want to continue until having my PhD title or doctor title and finish that, because I wanted to be reached at that level in my career. So also when I finished my high school and then moved from my country to Italy, where I started basically in the north of Italy, started my undergrad in biotechnology and industrial biotechnology. I knew I want to do something related to science. And I chose biotechnology because it can combine the technology and bioengineering with, again, as the name says, with biology. And so I can use it either in research, applied in academia, or at industrial level. And so that's what I did during my bachelor. I started doing general faculty of biotechnology. And then I continued from 2012 to 2015. So back then I started the university around 2010. And then at 2012, I started my master in industrial biotechnology, because my aim back then actually to do my PhD in industry in a pharma company, where I can use the biology applied really in like drug discovery or pharmacological, pharma companies.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is how it went. But I didn't yet was introduced, or I haven't tested or felt the love to structural biology of proteins and to drug discovery, which actually I did during my PhD. And I will, of course, happy to share that experience with you. I was working with stem cells.
Mhm.
um, for more regenerative therapies. And it was exciting, but back then I thought that it's a little bit far from being yet applied into really a therapeutic approach. Basically started during my PhD, where after my master studies, I was kind of only at that stage, I was kind of undecided how to continue my career. Shall I
Mhm.
stay in academia and continue doing there my PhD in stem cells and regenerative medicine, or go abroad, like outside the academia bubble, and do it there? And I got that opportunity of a call from the University of Milan. One of my professor, or in the network of my professor, who gave me the opportunity to start working in lab that are specialized in structural biology using
Mhm.
X-ray crystallography. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there started my journey with the proteins.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you, just for our audience, to simplify structural biology.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, sure. So structural biology, or at least on the molecules that I'm using, is you're trying to determine and to look at the three-dimensional structure of a certain molecule, and I'm using micromolecules. So let's such as proteins, who are actually responsible for making everything work in your cells and
Mhm.
overall our body.
Mhm.
Or your DNA. So we try to find how the DNA is really shaped in three-dimensional structures. What are the molecules that compose basically the DNA or the proteins? So the protein are actually composed by different amino acids
Mhm.
that are then peptides, and all these
Mhm.
peptides, they then combine together to give us a huge macromolecules indeed that are called proteins. And
Mhm.
again, they are responsible for making our body working as it should be. So any mistake
Mhm.
in that, let's say, line from the DNA to proteins can actually cause some diseases. And so
Mhm.
here where comes my job. So I'm trying to understand how these macromolecules are shaped
Mhm.
in general, with no pathological causes, no pathological involved in,
Mhm.
and we call wild type version of these proteins. And then my job to look into specifically the pathological basically called proteins that are
Mhm.
causing such a disease. And we try basically by understanding how they are shaped to
Mhm.
find a specific um, molecule. Also, again, here we look again to the shape or the three-dimensional structure of these molecules, such as small molecules or ligands that are interacting with our macromolecules in the cell,
Mhm.
and therefore we can find a specific therapy for such a molecule, so such a proteins.
Dr. Amal, I wanted to ask you, as you continue your journey even today, what are some of the aspects of mentorship and influence that impact your work, even today?
Yeah.
What plays a pivotal role? How do you keep yourself, motivated?
Wow.
Because this is intense work that you are into.
It is, and especially with what I'm working, the targets that I'm working with, they are very, very challenging.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I was really actually lucky and still lucky to have met many inspiring mentors and
Mhm.
people during my journey, starting from my supervisors who supervised me during my PhD, for example, of the structural biology, until now during my postdoc. And I really remember my PhD father, my PhD supervisors, who gave me a lot of inspiration and motivating me in that field. And one thing I have to mention, that during my PhD, yes, I was based in Italy, but I moved in two different places at the Weizmann Institute, and then most of or part of my PhD was done and conducted in UK, in Oxford. And there, actually, I like to tell this story about my mentor, Isabel Moraes. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She's from Portugal originally, but she's based in UK. She specialized in GPCRs, so coupled protein receptors, who are actually one of the most studies and really high targets in pharma companies. And she was such a great inspiration for me, first as a woman in scientific career, in academia, and not only, because she was working also as a group leader in Industria, but also at the personal level of motivating me at the daily basis. I was looking at her and I was every day inspired by the way she do everything. From managing people in the lab, from her way of talking to other scientists, from her way also of conducting science was really inspiring and motivating for me. And I think she was my motivation and inspiration at the same time to continue in that direction in my postdocs, and I'm now specialized in studying GPCRs for cancer research and neurological diseases. So yeah, Isabel was one of the people who really motivated me. But I have also to mention the people in the lab are actually they can be actually motivating or not, you know. So I also was happy to meet people and work with people, outstanding people actually in the lab. Such as postdocs or research scientists who were working there and motivating me in the daily basis. And these normal, daily chats were very helping.
I'm totally with you. The daily dose of motivation is also
Yes.
equally important. We
Yeah.
need to come across people who are, bringing us out of our sort of routine work and tasks. And, who sometimes we come across people who are a breath of fresh air, really, and you sort of make your day and, spark an insightful conversation. So,
Indeed,
yeah,
indeed.
definitely. It's interesting. You also have an Instagram handle. You have a channel, Science PhD Creative @science_PhD_creative. Tell us a little bit about it. Are you on social media a lot? What inspired you to make a channel? What did you want to do with it?
Yeah, I'm actually since 2016 there, so it's quite a while actually,
Yeah, yeah, yep.
now think about it. And all started kind of for fun, and it's the first time actually I'm opening an Instagram page was back then. And so I started, yeah, for fun, and mainly to share with my close friends and family what I'm doing in the lab, because every time that I'm going out with them or trying to explain to my parents or someone from the family, because I'm the only scientist in the family actually.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, so what does it mean? What exactly are you doing? And they think like we are doing magic. It is magic, but in their brain, they were imagining like we will discover something massive and we'll do a huge change in the world, which is true in somehow, but they weren't able to realize how hard the work that we are doing, and working in one project could take years actually until you reach certain results. And so this is how it started, just to share what I'm doing, some pictures, explaining in small
Yeah.
words and easy language, let's say, what I'm really doing. And then, so that was my inspiration to start, let's say, the Instagram page. Yeah, and then I found massive community, actually a huge community of science communicator there, and companies such as Thermo Fisher and Biorad, companies
Yeah.
that are actually funding and giving us products for the lab. I was like, wow, which then I have been able to connect with them and collaborate with them in a certain way, and have other interviews actually with some companies about that. So it really opened my eyes and the word for me in science communication community.
Mhm.
Uh, then I opened also my Twitter, where I'm sharing more specific in the science niche, let's
Science
say.
domain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's more, let's say, rather than outreach, it's more like, specific field.
Mhm.
And that's it. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it started basically, and how
Mhm.
I'm continuing to do that.
Any surprises by through collaboration? Like, did they fund your research, or what were they most interested in the collab?
Yeah. So I mainly actually was for a couple of years working, especially during my PhD, which
Mm-hmm.
way basically was the time when I started the Instagram page
Mm-hmm.
with Kipco Thermo Fisher. And
Mm-hmm.
since in my field, I use a lot the cell culture. So we use specific cells to express and to produce this kind of macromolecules and be able then to find their three-dimensional structures, right? So the starting point is that you have to produce in vitro, so in the lab, this kind
Mm-hmm.
of macromolecules that mimics what's happening in our body, in
Yeah.
our life cells. And
Mm-hmm.
so with Thermo Fisher, the collaboration was kind of, they are sending me kind of new media to test, which are specific certainly to the cell types that I'm using,
Mm-hmm.
or the flask kind of again,
Oh,
new flags
yeah.
that I can
Yeah.
test and see how they can influence the with the density of the cells, or
Mm-hmm.
influence the results, the overall results of my work. But then it went all beyond that. So I had also with them outreach, let's say science
Mm-hmm.
communication, doing some webcast as well, with lab roots. Then I connected with from them and with, or by them actually, to lab roots, which actually I give their seminar about my work. So it was really specific to give a talk about the targets that I'm using for therapies and drug discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a chain and it's
Yeah.
working
Mm-hmm.
thing. So it opened me to network with different companies, but
Yeah.
also to stay in contact at the personal level slash also career level
Of
with these
course.
people, which I'm really, really grateful for, and I'm very proud of. So yeah, absolutely, it was helpful. But also the agency who's funding at the moment my postdoc and my
Mm-hmm.
research was through, for example, Twitter, which I get to know about. And then I was motivated. Oh, I would apply for and see how it goes. And
Yeah.
again, also with this agency, I became in a good
Mm-hmm.
contact as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really nice. Yeah,
That's
certainly.
excellent. That's excellent. It's insightful, and it's a real-time experience. With the scientist community, also how they can sort of expand and collaborate across the
Mhm.
globe with companies and other scientists and so forth.
Yeah. It wasn't only connection with companies, science companies, let's say, or pharma companies,
Mhm.
but with other scientists around the globe, around the world,
Mhm.
which probably you would meet only if you go to a specific conference or workshop.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I get to connect and stay in contact with these scientists from everywhere,
Yeah.
and exchange experience and talk with them, even through messages or video calls or whatever. So definitely, and with the audience who are also following me, and they are curious about, about what to do during their PhD, or how to proceed their studies, and asking for advices. So that was definitely
Yeah.
also a plus, certainly.
What's on your mind for the near term and the long term future?
Yeah, that's a big question, and
Yeah.
important question at the same time, actually.
Mhm.
I'm 4 years a postdoc until now, and so I'm trying to balance my career with motherhood, because last year I became a mother. So I'm now also,
Congratulations.
thank you so much,
Mhm.
which is amazing thing happened to me, along to the amazing achievements that I have achieved, yeah, during my career in science and my journey. But at the same time, it opened my mind to really what are the challenges in continuing as a mother, and in science and
Mhm.
in academia. It's very challenging. Luckily, I'm lucky to have a husband who's very supportive for my career and has been and still, and a supportive family in general and community, and that it's not really stopping me in what I want to do and how I want to achieve it. So at the same time, being a mother, it's not even stopping me from reaching or following my passion in science and research. Nevertheless, I have to mention this because I think everyone who's continuing academic research after the PhD knows what I'm talking about, what I will talk about now. It's about the funding. And the more we go now with the years, the more it's becoming more and more challenge, actually, finding fundings, agencies who are giving you that money to continue your research. And since I'm still early in my career, I considered so 4 years are long enough, but not that long in academic career. I still have that chance to go outside academia and still at the same time have the chance to stay in academia for another couple of years. However, again, that money problem, it's always a challenge for someone who's trying to settle in a place and, make a family or in general to be more settled in life. And so that's a challenge. I'm coming now at the end, almost at the end of my postdoc. And so I'm thinking whether and we are looking for money. So here's the challenge. So I don't know if it will be extended or not. So I'm trying to keep more doors are open for me, and one of them it's as I discovered this hobby and this love for science communication and outreach and medical content writing. I kind of maybe also continue in that direction outside academia. Do this either as a freelancer or in specific companies or like an editor in one of the scientific journals such as Cell or Nature or these big journals, and work there. So it will not be anymore such only a work, but rather I'm doing something that I also enjoy doing it. I love it. It's passion for me, and it keeps me as well close to what I love, which is science research. So you never know. It's looking ahead after my postdoc, and you don't know where the destiny will take you.
Of course,
That's
life is
okay.
full of surprises.
Yeah.
Is there a disease that you
Yeah.
especially
Okay.
want to work towards to impact positively the lives of people in the world, who are suffering from it?
Sure. Yes. Yes. Very, very, very interesting question, I have to say. Since I'm structural-based drug design, so I'm drug design working with specific targets in our cells, and as I mentioned before, I'm working with with pathological cases. I started working with the ictus, so this injury that can harm really, really a lot the brain. And the problem with this is the diagnostic and plus finding the therapy for this such an injuries. And I think I started that because I have been assigned to this project, but working with it, it really opened my mind how there are so much actually research, but few therapies are really effective against this kind of injuries and brain damages. And so I might continue, and I would love to continue in that direction. So anything that can harm the brain and the nervous system, it really excites me. And in general, the nervous systems is something that I find very fascinating and very exciting at the same time. So imagine when it can be hit by specific disease. And then I became specialized in cancer, but again, brain cancer. So something again related to brain diseases. And so I would like actually to continue in such, and I hope one day maybe working with pharma companies can allow me to provide a therapy or provide at least a diagnostic tool for such diseases that can hit the brain. Yeah.
to bring some relief in that area. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you, what would be your, general advice, to the young girls out there, who want to be in your field, or who love biology in school, but don't really know what to make of it, and they don't really want to, become a doctor, let's say, or, what would you say? What are the different fields out there that you know of? It's yours and many others.
Yeah. Um, I think I might be the right person also to answer such a question, because I mentioned before, when I left my family and I decided to study biology or biotechnology, something related to STEM, it was something like very surprising for everyone. Like, in my culture, we use like, and even if you want to go abroad, so you go to study engineer or um, dentist or doctor, these kind of jobs, canonical jobs, let's say.
Yeah.
When I said, no, I want to continue and study science, everyone was super surprised. And of course, because it's not in our knowledge, let's say.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
in that sense, my first advice is, if you like really research and you think you like really biology, go ahead and do it and start studying it. And then along the way, you will see how much you are passionate about it, how ambitious you are in that field. And if you feel so, again, continue your journey and do what really excites you, because at the end, research and scientist research is very, very challenging, to be honest, and it's not an easy job. You spend a lot of hours in the lab, and you spend a lot of hours reading and analyzing scientific papers. So it takes a lot from your physical and mental energy, and you need
Yeah.
to be prepared for that. So the only thing that can keep you going is the love for science and the passion that you have for science. So I had actually a bachelor student a few years ago. She came to the lab. So I like to give this as an example to tell you how it's important to love what you're doing, especially in science research. So she came to the lab and she was super excited to work in our lab in the cell culture and do experiments. And she was doing her bachelor in biology, general biology. And so when she started, with the time, she started feeling like this excitement, it's dropping down. And she felt like, oh, it's not exactly how we read in the textbook or how it's advertised. And she started feeling about the challenge in being in the lab. And then she realized that it's not her cup of
Yeah.
tea, let's say. It's not the thing where she wants to continue,
Mm.
because I think you need to be also resistant and resilient in that sense,
Mhm.
going.
Of
Otherwise,
course.
if you don't have the passion to be patient to wait
Mm.
from doing this experiment for 100,000 times
Mhm.
until you reach a certain results, then
Yeah.
I think it's not that direction for you. And this is what happened with my bachelor student. She realized that she doesn't have this ability to wait. She wants to have immediate results,
Yeah.
and positive results, of course. And
Mhm.
it is at the same time, it's positive because it made her realize, okay, I love biology, but being in the lab, it's not the direction that I want to go through and continue in. So yeah, also
Yeah.
I think the advice can I give here is, go, if you love also research, go to a lab, do a rotation there and experience that for a couple of weeks, for a couple of months, and see how you feel. If you
Mhm.
still have that passion and you think you can do it, then also continue. Otherwise, it's very, very tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And
Yes.
go
Yes.
abroad, do your experience, meet people, don't be afraid to do so,
Mm.
because this give you the challenge also to grow mentally and be open mind for different
Mhm.
things. So yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.
No, I love that. I love that response. I know sometimes when we think about the fields to choose to pursue, it's based off of what we see that people have become, and not necessarily the challenges or the hard work or the number of hours of spent in lab, for instance, standing there just experimenting or, deep into something that we are necessarily aware of. So thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you for sharing. There's so much
Definitely. I
behind
agree with you.
there's so much behind the wall that we need to sort of unlock
Yes.
and, open the wraps and look into, of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
thank you so much, Dr. Amal. I just want to have some fun with you with a few questions, like one-word answers only, let's
Okay.
say
Let's
your
see if I can. I
one,
like to talk so much, so
it's
probably.
it's a quick rapid fire, just quick questions of a couple of them, your favorite food,
Pizza.
your favorite hobby,
My favorite hobby now is science communication slash
uh,
cycling. Can I add something? I
slash
love
what?
cycling. I love to
Cycling.
cycle a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Your favorite place to visit?
Um, oh, that's hard question actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it can be also a place that I visited already, and I
Hmm.
love to
Yeah,
visit
yeah.
more Vienna.
Vienna. Beautiful. Your favorite weekend activity?
Spending now with my child.
Of
Going
course.
outside and spending time with him. It's my
Yeah.
favorite activity.
Yeah. Yeah. Your favorite memory from childhood?
Yeah, going on holidays with my family and
Yeah.
my siblings. I
Mhm.
wish we can do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's on top of your bucket list?
yeah, I would love to have to be a group leader,
Hmm.
whether it is in again in the university and academia or outside. I would
Hmm.
love to be managing a couple of people and conduct amazing research. Absolutely.
Great. Great. Wonderful. We're just having some fun with you.
Yeah, that was
All
really
right.
fun.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. And
Thank
we will tag you and follow you on your Instagram channel as well.
you. Sure,
And
please.
yeah, and we hope to stay in touch with you, of course. And, we might have a second follow-up session of this
Yeah.
conversation to learn more about your research and how it's going in a little while. We'll come back to you. Right? Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you so much again. It was so fun and so exciting, and I'm really happy to inspire your community, hopefully, and for our chat. It was amazing. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward for our follow-up and more chats with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, before you move on to the next video, I have a request to make. If you like this video and this podcast, if you gained some valuable information out of this video, I would request you to click on the subscribe button as well as follow us on our social media pages. The links are given in our description. Also, do sign up to our website, www.shesitmag.com. We have amazing women stories as well as various women initiatives that are getting launched in the coming months. I'll see you there.